Diane Allen here, together on the porch. Compassion is a verb. And that's what I want to talk about today. After my lovely walk with Maggie, my dog, out in nature here in Florida, I was thinking mostly about compassion. What it even means, and is it even important? And how come I even was thinking about it? Every morning I get up and I wander with my dog out in nature and I think about things. And the thing I thought about today was compassion. Like, what is it? Well, I know it's a verb, which means there's action that goes with it. And then I started thinking about the word forgiveness, because most people say forgive and forget, and that's not it. On some levels, I guess, because forgive and forget means have compassion for and no longer hold against the person that thing. Doesn't mean erase it out of your mind. We can't do that. So most people misinterpret that phrase. So I try to dissect it a little bit from my own world. Like, having compassion for is the definition of forgiveness. And compassion is a verb. It means it's an action word. It's not a construct or an idea. It's a verb, which means we're doing something if we are using the word compassionate. So a compassionate person has an action, does something with it. So how do you know a compassionate person from a non-compassionate person? How do you know when you are feeling compassion or you're acting compassionately when you're not? And is it called for in every situation? You know, there's lots of things to ponder and consider when it comes to it. But one of the things that's so important for me anyway is to realize that not only is it a state of mind, but it's a verb. So how am I acting when I'm compassionate? Now, it starts inside. So the compassion first starts within us, with having compassion for ourselves, for the great adventure of being human, making it through this world. Yep, that means non-judgment. That means unconditional positive regard, kindness, generosity. It means holding in the highest regard the very best that we're doing and putting down the baseball bat. So self-criticism, self-judgment, and all of those things are the antithesis of compassion. Compassion means that I hold myself and others in a space of safety and security, understanding that everybody's doing the best they can, even if they don't think they are. And even if I don't want to think they are, because it's not about my judgment of myself first and then others. So it's a verb. So when I'm in that space where I'm safe and I'm holding that unconditional positive regard and I'm not being judgmental, what does my behavior look like? What are my actions? What are they? Well, for me, my actions are usually a smile, a softened face, not all scowled, but soft, right? Usually my breathing is more rhythmic and kind. My words are softer, maybe, and more melodic in my voice tone. My voice chords are relaxed, right? My words are supportive and gentle, maybe. Yeah. And sometimes compassion comes out with being firm, like, I really care about you, so let's quit destroying you, right? And so compassion isn't weakness. Compassion is understanding that it's part of that deep forgiveness that frees us from the bondage of our human ignorance. So it's a verb. We're doing something when we're being compassionate. Yeah, we are. We're freeing ourselves from that bondage. So when we say, I forgive me or I forgive you, what we're really saying is, I hold compassion for you as a human being trying to make it through the world, whether it's me or another human being trying to make it through this world. And in that moment, we're free. And in that moment, we can then go to a place of gratitude and thanksgiving and unconditional love and kindness, and it frees us from that bondage of self-criticism and judgment, and allows us to be in a place of gratitude and love, which is really the goal, right? So it starts with that level of deep forgiveness or compassion. It starts with action around it, not just thinking about it in a construct. And so many times I since I don't work with gifted people, we always tend to keep it in our head, but it really is a heart thing. It's a heart and soul thing, right? Like if you think about your biggest struggle, do you hold compassion for yourself? Because within your biggest struggle, you're a human being, or actually you're a spiritual being hanging out in the human world, doing your best to make it through this three-dimensional reality. So do you hold compassion for yourself on those days where maybe you don't live up to your ego's expectations, or when maybe things don't turn out the way you want, or maybe when you're doing the best you can but you make a really big mistake? Do you have compassion for yourself then? Or do you beat yourself up? Or do you harm yourself in some way? Yeah. Some people harm themselves with their words, some with their actions. But we don't want to do that anymore. We want to have compassion for ourselves. Because when we harm ourselves, you see, look outside, look at the society right now. It's an example of what self-harm looks like. Because remember, everything we see in another person, we have within ourselves. Somewhere, or it wouldn't bother us. Now, there's also a thing called being on the reverse side of your own process. So there's more to it than that. But I want to stay on compassion because it's so important, right? So when I woke up this morning, the first thing I say when I wake up this morning is thank you, thank you, thank you, 3 times. So thank you, Divine, for waking me up. Thank you, higher self Diane, for being connected to the divine and leading the way. And thank you, human Diane, for all the good coming through you. So thank you, right? And holding compassion and acting compassionate. That means if I wake up and I'm a little stiff, instead of getting all mad or upset, which it's very easy to do, have compassion. Thank you, joints. Thank you, everybody. We're coming together for a great day. Whatever it takes to say, to hold it in our verb, in our words, in our actions. The more we act on it, the more it comes back. Because that's the law. Everything you put out comes back times 10. Everything you think about shows back up in your life times 10. Everything you think, do, and say comes back times 10. So if your behavior is one of compassion, and your thoughts are of compassion, and you begin to free yourself from the bondage of upset and strife and fear, and you begin to trust the greater universe and your inner connection to that universe, then, my friends, the verb of compassion softens and heals and loves our lives and the lives of everywhere else. Everybody else wins too. So that was what I was thinking about today, most of the morning. The rest of the morning, I was thinking about all of the things on my calendar today. I kind of went into calendar mode a couple times because it's a very tight day with very little wiggle room for maneuvering. And there's a couple of the very tight wiggle room things that involve driving. Now, the driving part's not the issue. It's the traffic that potentially could be on the roads I need to use to drive where I'm going at the time I need to be there. That could be a little tricky. So today would be a really good day for me to really keep compassion as a verb foremost. Because you know how it is, if you're out driving and you get all frustrated and people aren't driving the way you want and you can't go as fast as you want or whatever, then everything seems to slow down and get harder. But when you sit back and relax and you stay regulated, then you're still going to get where you're going at the time you're going to get there anyway, but a whole lot less stressed out and a whole lot less upset. Compassion is a verb that way, right? So when I started looking at all the little windows, you know, because I created it myself. I have a special client to me, and we got on our call yesterday, and the first thing I thought of is, oh my, what is wrong with you? I mean, his eyes were all black and puffy, and he looked terrible, and he was really sick, but he showed up to his appointment anyway. And I think it was food poisoning. He said he ate something that didn't taste good. And in which case I say, if you put something in your mouth and it tastes like it's rotten or bad, do not swallow it. Especially when you're home, because he was home and ate it, right? Spit it out. Don't swallow something that your mind is saying, toxic, bad, poison, don't do it. Humans are weird. My dog wouldn't do that. Anyway, he was really sick. So I moved him to today, because why force somebody to work on their spiritual development when they physically look awful and feel awful? And so it tightened my schedule a bit. But because compassion is a verb and I have compassion for him, I said, well, let's see how we can make it work for both of us. And that's how compassion lives, right? And it operates. He was so grateful. I'm the one who brought it up. He wasn't going to do it. He was going to stick to what he said he would do. And I appreciate that diligence and that focus and his dedication to the work we're doing. And it's okay to be the one that has the compassion first and says, ooh, honey, rest. I'll see you tomorrow. It'll be okay. One day isn't going to hurt anything. And I'd rather him be able to be fully present for our time together anyway. So today's going to be a little tighter. And it's okay. It's totally okay. Because I know that as I move into the day with poise and ease and grace and kindness and all of those things, that it will all work out perfectly. Yeah. And I know that if I get all resentful and lack forgiveness and compassion, or get ahead of myself, or judgmental of me, him, or anything, then it'll make things all goofy. So we don't want that, right? So how are you using compassion as a verb, not just a construct, toward you? Maybe it's important to have compassion toward you for a younger version of yourself goofing off, or a younger version of yourself not necessarily living up to the standard you would have set, or for a younger version of yourself having made it through something really difficult. Maybe it's time to have compassion for you right now, today, and soften your heart a little bit and be a little bit more kind. Now, being compassionate doesn't mean you get a pass card and you don't have to be accountable or responsible. It's quite the opposite. Being compassionate and forgiving doesn't mean that it's okay to sit on the sideline, or it's not okay for all those things, right? It means that we stand up and we do the right thing and we take the right action and we live from a higher place of integrity. Integrity means that our intentions and our attention and our action line up. Our spirit, our heart, and our words, our physical self line up. Yeah. So we have to make sure that we're holding that compassion within us first, and holding ourselves accountable to being compassionate with others as well. Make sense? Okay. I hope it's making sense. And if it's not making sense, then tell me and I'll add a comment later or email me or something. But it's very important. You know, the world is really crazy right now. There's a lot of weird things going on. Nobody really knows what the truth is. The only way we'll ever know the truth about anything is to go into the truth of your being and ask what is true, what is real, what is kind, what is compassionate, what from the inner self. To the extent that you're distracted outside of you in any way, you're in the wrong neighborhood, period. So your truth lies within you. The answers lie within you. All of the people outside of you that we talk to and we meet with, and all my people in my circles, they're not giving me anything. They're reminding me who I am. Well, they give me hugs, right? Or they give me a smile, or they give me support. But that support and that kindness and that care and that hug is a reminder. They're reflecting back to me, right? Just like I, doing that for someone else, are reflecting back to you. Yes. It's pretty fun when you think about it, right? And then when we're both reflecting like love or compassion with each other, then it multiplies. Just like when we're reflecting anger and gookiness, whatever we're reflecting with each other multiplies, it expands. So when you hold a compassionate heart and you're acting that way toward yourself and others, and then other people are in your space and they're invited then to bring their compassion to the forefront just simply by you doing it. You don't have to say anything. And then there is an expansion of a much higher integrity way of being. That's where the answers are. That's where it matters. Yeah. So that's what I was thinking about today. I'm still thinking about it. And so I have a long day where I have lots of meetings of different kinds. I'm going to be doing gear shifting all day long, so I'm thinking I might have a little decision fatigue later. Maybe some compassion fatigue too, but probably more decision fatigue. And that'll be okay, because at the end of the day, I've already blocked in some nice gratitude time, extra gratitude time. So sometimes when you know you're going to have a hectic day, or you know maybe it's going to be an intense day, or there's a lot going on, put in your calendar the time for you at the end of the day and be loving and kind and generous to you. Because you deserve it. So, today, love yourself. Today, bring compassion forward. It is a verb, meaning there's action involved. It's not a construct only. So when you are at work today, and anybody you're working with, bring compassion. Lead with your heart, compassion first, and then let the rest come behind it. And see how everything improves. Because whether somebody can name it or not, or identify it or not, they will feel that compassion energy first. And then that makes every relationship more authentic and more beautiful. And you walk away from any interaction feeling more aligned, more happy, and more grateful. So that's how it works. And so it's time to really dial in the present moment. I was, a little aside of a story, I was speaking with a friend of mine the other day, and we were talking about living in the moment, because a lot of people say, oh, live in the moment, but they don't really understand what that means. And living in the present moment, or living in the now, as Eckhart Tolle says it, but it's these things that people are writing about now are thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years old. They were taught by the ancient Chinese people. So it's way old, the living in the moment idea. Everybody's acting like it's new. It's not new. It's just new because people are finally starting to wake up a little bit more. But living in the moment means I'm living in this breath. So when my mind goes to the last breath or the next breath, I'm not in the moment. So I was talking with a friend of mine, and his wife said she worries a lot. She is the family worrier, and I always say worry means praying for something to go wrong. And she was taught as a woman in her family growing up that to worry about everybody was noble. It's not noble. Worry's not noble. So she was sharing with her husband that she worries a lot, and what does he think about? And he meditates a lot. He's very, very aligned spiritually, and he said the present moment. He's thinking about whatever's right there in the moment. He doesn't allow his mind to go anywhere other than this breath. And so therefore he's in the moment, and therefore his actions have compassion and authenticity and love as they're generating energy. And that doesn't mean he doesn't set goals. It doesn't mean that he doesn't have focus, because he's a very successful person in the business world and does that well. But there's differences and variances. So when I sit down and I do my monthly goals and my yearly goals, my weekly goals, then I'm still in the present moment as I design and create these things. I don't go live in the future, and I don't go jump back to the past. That's completely insane. We have so much energy, we have so much information to tell us a different way to live, that to live that way right now in 2020, and especially being here on the porch with me, is insane. So today, when you're tempted to go to the past, drop into this moment's breath. When you're tempted to go into the future, back to this moment's breath. Because it's the breath that we're in right now that matters. Thank you for watching. This is Diane Allen. So grateful that you joined me on the porch. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and ring the bell so that you know when I post other videos, and check out some of the other playlists on this channel. If you have any feedback or would like me to do a certain topic, just put it in the comments and I will be happy to see what I can do for you. But in the meantime, enjoy your life and be well.